It is breaking my heart how there are so many people out here who will never be able to retire because of all the debt that they have. And I met a lady who literally cannot stop working because her debt is eating up her entire paycheck. And nobody realizes while they're doing all that swiping that this is what debt is going to really steal from you. And it broke my heart hearing her talk about how debt was the only reason why she was still working. Here is what I need y'all to understand. Debt is not only going to stress you out today, it's going to tear your behind up later too. And we are so focused on that credit score, getting that high credit score, that we don't realize that it is getting in the way. All of that debt is getting in the way of your quality of life. And if you do not stop using that credit card like it is additional income, I can guarantee you that is going to be your story too.
What we don't talk about enough is the retirement age people who will never be able to retire. We're always talking about the cost of living, the economic struggles, but what about the older people who won't be able to work soon? There's people that are 70, 75, still checking receipts at Walmart, still working at gas stations. It's just not right. As much jokes as I make about, okay, boomer, and they had all the handouts, and they're the richest generation, as much as all the jokes I make about them, at the end of the day, old people shouldn't have to work, no matter what decisions they made. It gets to a point, and then you got to think, the longer old people stay in the workforce, guess whose jobs those are? Those are our jobs that they keeping because they can't afford to retire. So instead of them leaving the workforce at 62, 67, whatever their retirement age is, they're staying into 75, 80. That's another 15, 20 years that us young people have to wait for those jobs to become available. So it doesn't just affect the old people that they can't retire. It affects the whole world because they are the largest generation in America. They can't retire.
You want to know another reason why I feel like the job market is so bad? Because the older generations are refusing to retire. And why? Because they are not going to be able to live comfortably off their retirement and whatever they were able to save up. And inflation also takes part in that as well. They can't afford the lifestyle that they were granted to live. So a lot of older people are holding on to their positions at the companies, which makes it hard for younger generations to move up or even get a job. There is so much wrong with this system, and it's frustrating on all parts. But what do we do? We know what we need to do. People just need to get on one accord so this can.
So yesterday I dropped a video talking about the fact that a lot of people don't retire. They literally are just working while they're older. And it created quite a bit of conversation, good debate. And I will say nobody came in there inappropriately at all. But what I want to make 100% clear, because I feel like some people thought that I was coming for the older generation. That is not what I was doing. Everything I do comes from a place of love, comes from a place of compassion. I'm not judging. I would never judge. But what I am doing is showing the reality of the struggles that so many people are facing. And it's like, if we don't see it, if we don't acknowledge it, how can we fix it? How can we change it? That is everything that I post is about spreading awareness so that it is not too late for the next person. Because we know that there are people who are working not because they want to, but because they have to. And like I said in my last video, I don't want that for anybody. But some people, it's too late. And the one thing I want to make clear is that our parents, our grandparents, that they did the best that they could with the knowledge that they knew. But they weren't given the tools, they weren't given the knowledge, they weren't given the resources to be able to retire in peace. Not all of them. I know of older people who are in the grocery store and they're getting beans and rice because they can't afford anything else. That's the pain that I'm calling out. And I don't want us repeating the same cycle if we don't have to. So the one thing I just want to be 100% clear on is that this is not about blame. It's about spreading the awareness. Because if you're in your 20s, your 30s, even your 40s, you still have time. You just got to start now. That is all that I am working to do, is to spread the knowledge, because applied knowledge is power. And the more we know, the more we apply, the more we do, the more power we take back. Period.
Said that the average 65-year-old in 2024 has to have at least 1.46 million in retirement savings in their IRA or their 401k in order to live comfortably. So by 2050, the average American, 65 years of age or older, or whatever the retirement age at that time, more likely to be 70, will have to have an average of 3.36 million in their retirement savings in order to live comfortably. So I say that to say that, like, don't stress yourself out. Whatever you're doing today, keep doing it. Don't let people pressure you about not climbing the corporate ladder, not opening that business. Like, live for today and just make the best of it. Because at the end of the day, if you're not a millionaire by the age of 65, then you're probably going to be struggling. And I talk to these people every day. I talk to people about transitioning their employer-based accounts to retirement individual accounts. And they constantly tell me how they do not have enough money to keep these accounts going. They do not have enough money to keep these bills going, to keep the same benefits that they had when they were working, because after they retire, they're only given a fixed income unless they're making more money than that. And a lot of people retiring now do not have $1.46 million in their retirement savings. So live for today.
But not only does the older generation not being able to retire affect us because of those jobs aren't becoming available, those management position levels aren't becoming available. You can't move up the corporate ladder because the old people are still taking those spots. And let's be fucking honest, most political roles are taken by old people. So there's old people making decisions for us, which they won't have to live through. But that's not what we're going to talk about in this video. Another thing is that if they can't retire now, imagine how it's going to be for us. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I used to make all those jokes about, oh, they had all the handouts and they were the richest but the truth is they were. They did have all the handouts. They were the richest generation. They did have the best economy, the best jobs, the best wage to cost of living ratio. They had it the best. Everybody like, well, you have the electronics and AI, and that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about my phone. At the end of the day, they had the best economy, and they're struggling to retire. So what are we going to do? People like me are saying, I'm leaving America. In June, I'm leaving. June 19th, I'm going to Vietnam. Like, you can go somewhere else and make your income there. You can teach English, which is what I'm going to do. But you don't even need to teach in a school. You can be a tutor. You can go somewhere else and start a business. You can do YouTube, which I do YouTube, but I don't expect that to be my main income, and you shouldn't either, unless you're making millions and you can invest into portfolios and stuff. That way you never have to work again. But you get the point I'm making. Americans have to choose other options because you won't be able to retire off your 9 to 5. Because by the time you're retirement age, you're going to need like 3.4 something mil, whatever the lady said. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the rest of these clips.
They messed up, y'all, how there are so many people out here that work hard and have worked their entire lives and they still cannot retire. And it is not because they were reckless with their money, y'all, but because all they were ever taught to do was to save, how to depend on these pensions and these 401ks. And so now they're hitting their 50s and their 60s and they're realizing that there is barely enough money in there for them to even survive. And that is why I started my money mentorship, so that you can get the clarity that you need before that becomes your story. So if you haven't signed up yet, check out the link in my bio.
I can't believe I'm the only 60-year-old that had no retirement, no savings, and still working 9 to 5 and just unsure of her future. But you know what? I came across people talking about earning daily pay just by using their phone a Wi-Fi, and 2 hours a day following a step-by-step blueprint. I have been doing this since January, and it has rocked my world. I now want to show you exactly how this can help your retirement, your travel, or whatever you need that extra cash for. Comment info below. Let me send you that information that's going to change your world.
What 20-year-olds don't know, but they will know around the age of 60. I'm about to drop some serious knowledge. You guys need to really be listening to this, because this could change your whole outlook on what you're trying to do with your life. Now, I did a video about ageism in the workforce for people, especially in their 60s. And many young people on here are saying, oh, they're not hiring them because they're going to retire soon. Saddest fucking thing, guys. Many of them can't retire. A lot of them are going to be collecting Social Security. Social Security, look up what the average for Social Security is. Here, I'll help you. It's between this number and this number is the average for Social Security. Can you live off that much a month? And if you can, congratulations, you are less than 1%ers. This is not going to even cover most people's rent. Don't forget food, medication, anything. And there could be a good chance by the time that you're 60 that not even this is available for you. I know people who are extremely sick going into work after surgeries because they need to work just to have medical. They require a certain kind of medical insurance for their particular medications. So health is everything too. So even though a lot of 60-year-olds are capable, sure, they would love to retire. Some love to work, but many are stuck in the cycle. They have to work till their last dying breath because this is not enough to live off of in the US. Hard reality.
I have been very observant lately. And I don't know if it's just me getting older, you know what I'm saying? You know, excuse my skin, excuse my face. I ain't got no makeup on. But I am realizing that every single store that I go into, there is an older person working. And I'm not just talking about I'm talking about 60, 50 to 60 plus working in these stores. I just finished my semester. I decided to go shopping today. I went into Ulta, Marshalls, Five Below, and some other stores. I just got out of Five Below. Got me some headphones. And there was one older man in there. He probably in his 60s, older. He was alone in there. And the store was full of stuff, like just boxes everywhere. And obviously he was working. And I'm just like, it just dawned on me, like, I don't think we're realizing, like boomers cannot retire. Like, my dad retired a couple of years ago. He's now back home. Thank God. But one of the things that he was talking to me about before leaving, because I wanted him to stay in the state, he's like, no, I cannot afford to stay in the state. It's too expensive to live here. I would much rather go back home and live in my home and just get my retirement money and do whatever I wanted to do. And like, I don't know if it's just me getting older and I'm kind of like, I'm a little bit more attentive to my environment. But I am like seeing like older people working. Like I woke up early and I went to Target today. There was an older man in there working. When I went to Ulta, a woman that helped me, she might have been in her 50s. Like, I don't think that we're real. And it's like, I did a video a couple of days ago about how these townhouses are cheaply built, and so many people are like, well, you gotta buy an old home. The boomers can afford to leave their homes for us to go buy, even if you have the money.
You know what doesn't make any sense to me? Busting your ass off for 60 years, retiring. Wait, if you retire at 60, that means you worked for like 40 years. Okay, let's redo this. You know what really sucks? Busting your ass for 40 years, retiring, and then you still got to work because That's not enough money. Your retirement's not enough money. And not only that, but you're older now, so you can't travel as easily as you did when you were younger. Oh, and now you've got health problems. So that's going to cost you money. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, live day to day. Okay? You don't want to wait until you're 60 something years old to go out and have fun and do the things that you truly enjoy. I get on my bike with my 6-year-old son. I bike around the whole fucking town that I live in, and I have a ball. I have a ball, and I see car after car of just dead inside. Don't wait. This is your sign.
This is something that needs to be talked about, and it's the fact that our elderly people here in America can't even retire. Or when they do retire, they have to work. And then they're working with busted people with badass attitudes. Like, that's not okay. In America, I feel as though it's like the country that does not respect elderly people whatsoever. Like, at all. Like, at all. Doesn't respect them. They're working when they shouldn't be working. And it's honestly sad. And it's also sad too, is because a lot of our elderly folk voted for who we have in office.
Most people aren't going to be able to retire. Sorry for being the bearer of bad news here. That whole lie of, save $1 million in your 401k and you're going to be able to retire and live in the Florida Keys and enjoy the last 40 to 45 years of your life, it's a lie. It's a lie that was the truth for boomers. And to this day, we still spew it, and so many people hit like 50 years old and they look around and go, oh, I'm never going to be able to retire. I still can't believe people fall for it. Like, the only reason I have a 401k is so that I could take loans out against it. And it's like free money. Other than that, retirement accounts are fucking useless unless you don't know how to use your money. Like, having a huge lump sum of money that you save up for 50 years, that doesn't matter. Yeah, it's nice to have, but at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to retire and live off that for the last 40 years of your life. Not at the rate we're going right now. You got to focus on some cash flow. You got to focus on something paying you every single month. And guess what? When you do that, and you focus on just getting payments instead of a huge lump sum of money, you can retire much sooner. Riddle me this. Would you rather work for 50 years to have $1 million sitting in an account and you never make any other money? Or would you rather work for 15 years and have $10,000 a month? That's what I'm doing. I'm going with that second one. Just give me my payments every month. There's a lot of ways you can go about it. I go through real estate. My goal is to retire by 35. As you can imagine, there's no way in hell I'd be able to save up $1 million in my 401k by then. But I can make $10,000+ a month in that time by investing into things that give me cash flow month to month. That is the way you're going to retire. That is the only way you're going to be able to retire and live comfortably. Because guess what? $1 million sitting around does nothing but lose value. Yeah, most retirement accounts are able to outproduce inflation. Not by much, but they can. You know what doesn't get beat out by inflation? Housing prices. Rent prices, assets, businesses, services, those will never get outdone by inflation. They're going to go up right along with it. That is how you retire. You invest into those things, you get your cash flow, and you're done. Stop trying to do the 50-year, I'm going to retire with $1 million. It doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work anymore, and I'm sorry to say that. There are so many people today realizing that. You think these old folks want to be out in the workforce still? Truly and honestly? I saw like a 70-year-old woman working at a gas station the other day. That's embarrassing. And that's no fault to her. It's just not possible to retire anymore. You have to do something different. The system doesn't work. Like I